Hello, everybody.
Hello, people, humans.
I'm telling Amon about how much of an acrobat my cat has become.
Yeah, continue.
So so for the folks at home that don't know, my cat's a crazy acrobat. So I guess when I was at work today, Andrew texts me and he sends me these pictures and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And all it is, and I'm gonna send them to Alma so you can at least see them. Is so our apartment we have in our bathroom there is a window kind of higher up in the bathtub kind of deal. And so while Andrew was in the bathroom earlier, he the cat decides to jump on top of the shower door because we have a sliding glass door for our shower.
Mm-hmm.
He hops on top of it, and then he manages to make his way over to the window across the way, and he just chills there for like a solid 5 minutes before coming down from that window and hopping out of the bathtub.
Oh boy.
I've just sent you the pictures on Discord.
I saw. He's looking very cute.
He's adorable, little troublemaker. But anyway, hi everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to another installment of Steph and
Super
Amon
happy.
play
Super
Higurashi.
Super happy, fun murder time.
Exactly. Supersonic murder time.
Mm-hmm. I expect blood and violence. I mean, we're on the right track now that Rena's gone a little nutty.
Yeah,
So that's good.
This is much more of a slow burn than I was expecting.
Yeah, I know.
I assumed
like, because you're used to the anime, like I am.
Yeah, like I don't know that much about the actual structure of the visual novel. I was expecting this to pick up a lot more. This is like
There's
actually
a lot of like slow burn filler stuff.
Yeah, like it really leans into like the normal high school life until before shit gets weird. It's interesting. I'm not complaining. It's just unexpected.
No, it's just very different and very interesting.
Yeah.
The amount of times we've played like games as part of the school club before we got to this point.
Exactly. Well, I'm thinking like I mean obviously this is very different, but like I played like the first Danganronpa game. That game doesn't ease you into shit. Like you get like maybe 2 whole minutes of normality,
you, like right into it.
Like it just chucks you directly in there. I was not expecting something like this where like you can get a good like 5 hours into this before things get weird.
Let me see. So hold on. I need to see how many parts are we into this at this point. So there's last week's VOD didn't go on the channel yet. So let me see where we're at. I need to update the VOD channel, but it's been slow for the streams. So we're at part 6 on the VOD channel. So that would make this part 8 for us tonight.
Yep.
So it took at least 7 parts to get a little bit of nuttiness.
Yep.
So 7 streams total, including the first one that we did like
in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Here we are.
We're here for more insanity.
Indeed. Shall we get going?
Oh yeah.
All right.
End of chapter 8. I wonder how many chapters there are.
I don't know. I'm assuming this because there's like 8 of these chapters on Steam. That's how it's like presented. So I'm assuming this ends with us getting killed.
Oh, probably.
Because that's usually because I'm assuming they're kind of divided into like
the arcs like they did with the anime.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm assuming this ends with Keiichi getting either ganked or ganking someone.
Yep.
I just don't remember the structure of the first arc well enough to know where we are in that.
Yeah, same. So for those who missed it last week, where we left off is so Keiichi is basically kind of undercover, like trying to figure shit out between like his friends, but Rena might be suspecting shit now. And the last thing we had was the phone call with Oishi, where Keiichi talks to Oishi about some shit. And afterwards, we find out, oh, Rena has been here listening to your entire fucking conversation.
Yep.
And Rena is slowly, of course, becoming very, very deranged.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we magically in the next, like, stream or two, I feel like in the next stream or two, we might actually finish this one. If so long as it's not like still not the slow progression, but I think it's at this point I feel like it's gonna keep ramping up from here.
Yeah.
That's just my thought, but yeah, that's where we are at. So and I think what I say last week that I think Rena is more like yandere style, so I'll have to go with more yandere.
Oh boy.
I think that's what my plan is. I'll try my best though.
All right. Are you ready?
Oh yes, let's do it.
All right. Weariness and a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day.
What's wrong? Keiichi? You don't look so well. When did you go to sleep?
It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday, I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door.
Yep.
I told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try and sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night.
Damn.
Or maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. It might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite.
My. You do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school?
Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, would it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow.
Oh,
Ding
God.
dong. Startled, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually meet up with Rena. It was Rena.
Yep. Rena came to get you. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the day off?
Rena was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. Yeah, he is a teenager, isn't he?
Oh, this is... Uh-huh.
Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Rena's fault. It was probably mine. It had to have been my cold. It just had to be. I'll rest. Sorry.
Then I'll go send her off for you.
Mom headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Rena, so I wrapped myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep-deprived I quickly fell into a deep slumber.
Nap time.
That's not a very comfortable-looking couch.
Oh God, no, that's awful. Reminds me of my fucking futon.
I had only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table I found lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. It had likely to do with Dad's work.
Rip and piss futon. Yeah, I used to have a futon when I was living in Quincy, so south of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it with me to North Plainfield, which is where I lived in Jersey for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved to Connecticut, we were like, fuck this, and we threw the fucking futon in the dumpster.
Good.
Because it was so worn out by this point.
I believe it.
So, I think I still have the picture somewhere on my phone of it just hanging out by the dumpster.
Nice. It likely had to do with Dad's work. This happened ever so often, so it wasn't that unusual. They wouldn't be back for dinner. They would be back for dinner, but might be a bit late. On the note it said, The insurance card is in the cabinet. Take it and go to the hospital. There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was.
We're going to the hospital?
Well, he's sick. I had a light lunch, although it was really just leftovers from the morning, and just in case, went to the hospital.
Normally, I don't remember this.
Normally, I'd have never been here in the middle of a weekday. Just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital sign came into view. Irie Clinic was written rather stylishly on the sign. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. Now, let's see what this looks like.
Not your basic ass clinic.
Exactly. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. They must be making a mint. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. Oh, look at the little crocodile.
Little alligator. That's cute. Maibara-san, please make your way to the examination room.
After half-heartedly answering all the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold."
Ah, yes.
They gave me a shot and 3 days worth of medicine. I thought it was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I've been having lately, then it was worth it.
Apparently you need to play a little gator game with Tasha one of these days.
Little gator game. I'll make a note of that. Maybe that should pair. That sounds like a pair well with Frog Detective. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yes,
as you do.
doubt_LANoir.jpg. If it just wasn't for that word. Must have been Onikakushi.
I wonder. Do you want me to see the villager?
No, that's fine. You go ahead.
She was still pretty young. Might have just eloped.
With whom?
That man from Tokyo who visits every season. That young one with that big camera. Didn't you know they were getting along pretty well?
Were they talking about Tomitake-san? I could feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that, but you have to make preparations before you elope. Leave a note or quit their job or something.
It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or message.
The thought that I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad.
Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes.
So her name was Takano-san.
Oh, we finally got her name, okay.
That woman with Tomitake-san. And she worked at this clinic? Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. I started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony of school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow.
Of course.
But of course. Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, of Hinamizawa. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape.
Yep, you fucked.
In the words of the Weiss kids, you know, now you fucked up. Now you fucked up.
Yeah, whoops.
Whoops. Maybe it was because... what's this place look like? Yeah, okay. Just a wall. Maybe it was because I was walking outside and my appetite had suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road that I'd be in a car's way? I moved farther off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. Maibara-san!
Oh, boy.
Good day to you. It was Oishi-san. He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me.
Hello.
What's up today? School on break?
Nah, I'm sick, bro.
Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and head back home. That's great! I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together?
Oh my god.
If you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me. I was just going to lie down after going home anyway, and I didn't really have a cold. I expect you'd rather avoid using one of the local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive. Is that alright? I know a pretty good place. I'd finally begun to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. I went with Oishi-san riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie. I'm sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you? No. I recalled Rena, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. With a big bump that jolted the car, the road connected to the city changed from dirt to pavement. My head swiveled back with a sudden realization. That's right. This is where Tomatake-san died. I've hit a snag on the investigation regarding Tomatake-san. Oishi-san spoke, while peering at me from the corner of his eye. They believed it was caused by hallucinogens, given how he was clawing out his own throat. But a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course, the autopsy was done with that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads. You know that thing you see in comics all the time? Where there's a drug that doesn't leave any traces after being consumed? It exists. Oh boy. Sicken alcohol something or other? Well, it's pretty common. But you see, there doesn't seem to be any kind of drug that would cause Tomatake-san to react like that. Then you're saying the police conclude Tomatake-san just died from the curse? I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. I just wanted the idea of a curse to be disassociated from Tomatake-san's mysterious death. Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. Well, putting aside the curse of death, without a doubt, he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating before he died. There was that was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans. This is true. Is a true fact, Andrew. The game said it, not us. That made me feel a bit relieved. We passed in front of the rather desolate, but still busier than Hinamizawa train station. Oh, look at that. A nice little street.
Nice little thing, and this is just grubby garbage.
Yep. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot, and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of a weekday. So they're at not Denny's.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's a sit-down family restaurant, so they're at Benny's, let's say. 2, please. I'll make do with non-smoking. This way, please. When you are ready to order, please call me over. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oishi-san in the booth. So what do you think? Aren't the waitresses' outfits here cute? Huh? Well, I guess. The shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food, you see. Uh-huh. Oishi-san, you're leering. Am I really? He laughs like a dog.
I
Regardless of
forgot
how...
that Oishi looks like a big old boy packing a big old brisket.
Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Ooh, it's the dessert menu.
How do we go from... Hold on, go back to the other one.
Yeah, no, it's a completely
dessert
different...
menu to, like...
it looks like,
Like, beef plates and shit?
Yeah, I think so. Curry, probably. From the one on the right definitely looks like curry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just...
And we go to desserts? What the fuck?
That seems more in keeping with a sit-down cafe where the waitresses dress up, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Oishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table. Yesterday we talked about Himazawa's past, didn't we? Yeah, that it was the village of man-eating demons, or something like that. I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my mother about it this morning. Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket. Turns out that Himazawa used to be called Onigafuchi, the Demon's Abyss. Onigafuchi? That's quite the name. The name's still around. The swamp where the Shinto priest's wife drowned herself is still called Onigafuchi.
Oh, right.
It's said that the depths of that swamp connect to the realm of demons. Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous swamp.
Why would they?
I know. Oh, and you see, it appears that they were both feared and revered. A respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was a kind of deification. A village of inhumane creatures. Seems the demons were Senin, or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts. Villagers with incurable illnesses would be taken to Onigafuchi to be healed, for example. Even if we were calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or Senin would be a more apt description. They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons. But they were still man-eating demons. According to the story my mother told me, as payment for treating the son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went. The price of carrying her son was herself? That's unsettling. Of course, the mother took her son and ran. Then, you see, all the villagers of Onigafuchi, the demons, chased, surrounded, and captured them. The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. In the end, it seemed both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end. No moral. There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in this story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale. Huh? There are plenty of old fables like this. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Onishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee. Angel Mort? Okay.
Oh, that's right. That's the name of this restaurant. I forgot.
Oh boy, Angel Mort.
I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah, there we go. It's not an ominous name at all. But, well, there's quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onigafuchi band together to capture their prey. I recall that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped. They would always hunt down a single person, and they chose who it was going to be beforehand. Huh? That caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant. My mother told me you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said. So what does this all mean? It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems that there's that kind of rule. Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities. In other words, what happens if you break the rule? Well, they're man-eating demons, after all. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the entire village was in on the crime. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then, Oishi-san, I guess it looks like it's either the entire village or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes? What do you think, Maibara-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please. That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say that last part. He waited for the waitress to finish pouring coffee before speaking. Last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappeared. Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around in his coffee. So those friends of Satoshi-san, meeting your group of friends, Mibara-san, I had a bit, really just a little bit, okay? A background checking done on them. Oh boy. If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have gotten angry at him for calling my friends into question. But as I was now, I couldn't... the twist you weren't expecting. Satoshi-kun was actually killed in the early 1980s, and the man who took his name after that was simply a doppelganger.
Take a rest.
This might sound pretty stupid. Mibara-san, if you feel that it's stupid, please say so. I'll just stop. Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. A little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. I took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. The victim of the incident in the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonizaki-san. Multiple altercations. Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked up. In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in that accident, right? Their daughter was with them at the time. Her name is Satoko Hojo-san. Huh? Satoko? Meaning... Satoko? Oishi-san's look told me my voice was too loud. I realized it as well and quickly quieted down. The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year. You see, their daughter is Rika Furude-san. Furude-san. Rika-chan was... a housewife who died in the fourth year? You know already, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, as she had lost both of her parents in the accident. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I had thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way, he was Satoko-san's older brother. Wait. Just a second. It took everything I had to finally say that. I gulped down a glass of water and once again wiped my face with a napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Mibara. Orochi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard. All the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That has to just be a coincidence. Mibara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking. Mion? Satoko? Rika-chan? So what if they're connected? You're telling me all of my friends. It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Oh, Reina is different, isn't she? Reina isn't connected with the victims at all. Reina Ryuga was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture up until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims. He said in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected? Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryuga-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all the windows. Reina did that? She broke all the windows of her school? That same spacey Rena had... I couldn't even imagine it. Oh no. Damn it.
Uh-oh, what?
I clicked on apparently there's an ad running now because I accidentally clicked on it. Well.
How long is it running for?
Just 60 seconds.
Okay. Oopsie.
Yeah, that's on me. I keep my I put the thing in front of the my OBS thing so I can like keep an eye on the chat.
No, that's fair. I have the pop-up versions of that out, so Makes it easier to deal with. Sorry, folks, for y'all who are stuck with ads real quick.
Yep.
Oopsie doodle.
Oopsie doodle.
Oopsies.
Should be over soon.
No, yeah. Lordy. Shit's getting real, bro.
Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. I don't like it at all. No, sorry, Bob.
Whoopsie doodle.
Alright, I think it's over. Sorry about that, folks. I hit the ad break button by mistake. So I won't do that again.
Oopsies.
Alright, where was I? I couldn't even imagine it. It seems that after her 3-day suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia. She was given weeks of counseling and medication. I wondered if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I heard that happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Reina's easygoing personality. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Reina-san. It shows up. And quite a bit at that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret. She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. It felt like someone's stone-cold hands was caressing my back. Why had Reina spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa? It seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night. Standing over her pillow, looking down at her. My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told. A while after that, she moved to Hinamizawa. Ah, that's right. She's not an outsider. Huh? According to the residency registry, the Ryuga family used to reside in Hinamizawa. They moved to Ibakura just as Reika-san entered elementary school. My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began...
And in the corner, you see Oishi's arm just chilling there.
This is not this screen was not designed to be seen in a widescreen format.
Oh God, no!
It's made for a square monitor.
Oh yeah.
My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension. Let's see, does it show up in the other ones? And the other ones it goes all the way across. Mibara-san, are you all right? Shall we stop? Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I know about Reina. Then, how about the last victim, Tomatake-san? Who is he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. All of them. Have you forgotten, Mibara-san? Didn't you all spend the night of the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves.
I mean, yes.
Now there was nothing I could respond with. I fell silent as my brain turned to mush. We should get going. Mibara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine? I completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. I got another glass of water and we left the shop after I chugged it down.
Back in the frigid cold.
Yep, we got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. But a big jolt was from the distance and elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain I had heard Tomatake-san scream. I sat in silence, just letting myself be shaken by the car. I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you're ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation. Why did you talk to me? I blurted out the question. Really just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer. I did check with you first, didn't I? If we should just stop... Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating this string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, possibly know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I was part of Mion's circle of friends who looked suspicious to Oishi-san. I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my mother wants. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light. So, Oishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them? Oishi-san didn't really give a response. It felt a little late. Excuse me. But I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings.
The music is very, very soothing.
It is. Well, this is mostly my intuition from 30 years on the job. Maibara-san, you're the one in danger. Huh?
I mean, that's obvious.
I mean, truly. Maybe Kiichi doesn't get it, but that's because Kiichi doesn't know what kind of game he's in.
No, he doesn't. He's about to find out, though.
Huh? I wanted to reply with, that's absurd, but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year. So I want to settle things. In other words, he was insinuating that on the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim. I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in the string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again, or so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing. Pressure from what? Someone in Hinamazawa. We've arrived. Is this fine? After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears. If you won't mind, I won't mind if you just forget everything I told you today. But I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll send Oyashiro-sama's curse this year. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year.
Where are you sending it?
I can read, I swear. So you're saying I should...
English is hard.
It is. So you're saying I should contact you if anything happens? It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, Maibara-san. I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it. Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all of this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick. I didn't really give any sort of response. I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now. The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. It felt like I was watching a boat only throw me a lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair. Telling me I was going to be the next victim, then just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing. And I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Or was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it. I don't want to die. For some time, I couldn't do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind by the AC from the car.
Oh. If I know where this is going, we might finish this chapter tonight.
We might.
If it's not that slow a burn.
Yeah.
Might finish this whole fucking thing.
I wonder how much time had passed since I laid down. It was getting dark outside. My body was soaked in sweat. It would probably be a good idea to change my sheets. At that moment, the phone downstairs rang.
Uh-oh.
It was probably Mom. Mom was quite the worrywart. Maybe she had called many times, but I just didn't notice it. Hello, this is the Maybara residence.
Oh, he's alive. Hello. This is Mion. How you doing?
Is this one of Keiichi's friends? Keiichi is resting now, but... Shall I put him on?
Huh? Is this his dad? Sorry.
Idiot. You fell for it.
Huh? Keiichi!
After our exchange, we both had a good laugh together. Except I was suspicious of her even as we were laughing. Was everybody Really involved in the incidents?
Don't answer it, you fool.
Oh yeah. The fact that I couldn't say no saddened me.
I'm relieved that you seem well. Rena was really worried, you know. Satoko was happy and said you got what you deserved. Rika said how unfortunate he's sick.
Heh, looks like everyone was making a big deal out of it.
Well, you know, so Kei-chan, is now a bad time to come pay you a visit?
A visit? No, it's okay. It's not like I'm dying.
My grandma made a ton of mochi, you see. I was told to share them. So I'll bring you some.
Hey now, you'll catch my cold.
Not to worry, both Ren and I are too stupid to catch a cold. See you. Be there in a bit.
She hung up cheerfully.
Uh-oh.
Reina's coming too? That's what it sounded like. I was still concerned about meeting Reina, but I guess if she was with Mion.
I don't know about that, buddy.
I heard the doorbell 10 minutes later.
How are you feeling? Did you take your medicine and rest?
I just did that. Don't leave the door open, sir. Thank
goodness you look well. I was worried. Every time I forget she has a gun. Yep.
Sorry, I'll be fine by tomorrow. Mion showed a complete lack of concern for someone who's recovering. Arena looked like she was worried about me from the bottom of her heart. It didn't look like there was anything behind those expressions.
I thought we might hang out for a bit, but it looks like you're not quite in the condition for it.
Huh? You don't say. I see my face appeared a bit sullen.
Then here, Keiichi. These are the mochi Mi-chan's grandma made.
Reina held up the package wrapped in newspaper. There might be about 5 in here. It was quite hefty. Ah, thank you. Send my regards to your grandma, Mion.
Yep. There's one that I made in there as well. I wonder if Keiichi can guess which one. This is Kei-chan's homework since he missed the club meeting today. There are letters on each mochi, so I'll ask you tomorrow.
Were you checking if I was feeling better, or did you come here for some club activities?
Yep, looking fine. Guess you'll be able to make it tomorrow.
Man, what are you going to do if my fever comes back because of your shenanigans?
Mi-chan, we shouldn't make such a racket. Let's go. The other people here will get angry.
Both of them thought my parents were home. It was because the entranceway was a mess.
You're right. Let's get going. Ah, by the way, Kei-chan.
Yeah?
What did you eat for lunch?
Oh boy. The sudden question startled me and I went wide-eyed when I saw Mion. I'd never seen her like that. It was a highly unsettling visage. But why, if she asked me about what I ate for lunch? What she said was so inane it was almost meaningless. The way she said it was almost like she didn't even care at all about what I ate. I ate out. She must have suspected that I was with Oishi-san. Anyway, I felt that if I hesitated or tried to change the subject, then they'd read too deep into it. So I tried answering as quick as possible. Except, contrary to the efforts I had made, there was a pause before they replied.
So you ate out for lunch, Keiichi?
The glimmer from Reina's eyes had changed at some point as well. It was now sharp, as if to make me feel the feigned ignorance behind her words even more. Jesus Christ, Andrew!
God damn it! She would go, ooh, ooh. Ooh. Jesus Christ, Andrew. Why are you like this? Alright.
Alright. As if she already knew.
Kill the mood or improve it. I don't know, but right now it's killing the vibe we have happening here.
That wheezing noise you heard was all the tension leaving. As if she already knew. That's how it looked to me.
Well, was it good?
Why are you asking me this? Mion was speaking in an unusually low tone. Almost as if she knew that I had eaten at the restaurant in town. No, I'm overthinking this. I mean, both of them should have been in school at lunchtime. There was no way they would have known where I was.
Seems you were with a rather austere-looking older guy. Who was he?
Flop. The package of the mochi I was holding slipped out of my hands. I could tell the blood had drained from my face, making me go pale.
Oh, Keiichi, who was he? Could it be the person from before, I wonder? I wonder.
I could feel the back of my throat going dry. This was no longer a bluff. They knew everything? But how do you know that? It took everything I had to finally force those words from my throat. My knees were shaking.
Because there's nothing this old man doesn't know.
Mion snared knowingly, and her laugh seemed to carry on forever.
So, Kei-chan, what did you talk about? It seems like you got pretty worked up over it, too.
We weren't talking about you guys. It didn't have anything to do with you or Reina.
Isn't that a bit strange to hear our names come up even though nobody asked that?
Reina's unwavering gaze pierced through my eyes and peered further inside of me. I dug my own grave.
Good job, bro.
My heart was throbbing so much it felt like it was going to explode.
Well, whatever you're trying to hide, this old man already sees through it all. Remember that.
Ellipses. I couldn't even shake my head. It took everything I had to stop my teeth from chattering. She never let her gaze break from mine, even as she tilted her head slightly.
Keiichi, you don't look so good. I think you should lie down. That's true. We should both head back home.
As if nothing had happened, they both giggled at each other and started making their way out.
Oh, man.
I hadn't moved a muscle since I had dropped the package of mochi. As they left, the door slowly closed behind them. All I could do was stare, as if I couldn't move until the door was completely closed. Just as the door was just about closed,
God.
It opened again slightly with a sudden squeak, sending my heart racing once again. A single eye peeped in through the narrow slit, and Mion's hawkish gaze peered at me once again.
Same thing, yeah, okay. See you, Kei-chan. I'd hate it if you miss school tomorrow, alright?
Thud. The door closed. I wasn't able to move a muscle even after their low laughter died off into the distance, and silence once again enveloped the room. Coming back to my senses, the first thing I did was lock the door. They knew what Oishi-san and I talked about? Why? How? No, that wasn't important. Thinking about it now, all of it could have been overheard from the beginning when Oishi-san met me. Just as Mion said, I couldn't hide anything. Then, what were they trying to tell me? That part was obvious. They were warning me not to say anything unnecessary. What did they deem unnecessary? I only talked with Oishi-san about one thing, and they were warning me that that was unnecessary. What was it that Oishi-san had talked to me about? The incidents involving Oyashiro-sama's curse that occurred every year weren't individual cases, but were connected as a whole, as well as the fact that there may be multiple perpetrators hidden within Hinamazawa. No, more precisely, that Mion, Reina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious. Is that what they are warning me against? What kind of nonsense am I thinking about? I hit my own face hard enough to let out a large slap. If only that would wake me from this nightmare. For some reason it felt like I was punching a blanket. It was almost laughably painless. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. When did I become such a pessimist? Calm down. Calm down. Settle down and sort things out. The reason Mion knew I was eating lunch with Oishi-san was probably because someone from Hinamizawa just happened to be there at the time. They must have told Mion that I was there. That made the most sense. Plus, come to think of it, she didn't ask me where I ate lunch, did she? She only asked, was it good? They were just curious since I was together with someone not from Hinamizawa. It's not as if they had any ulterior motives. That's
you
it.
poor
fool. He's a terrible combination of...
poor fool.
He's deep in denial and also a bad liar. It's a bad combination.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking about it that way, it was the same with Reina. I was just being strangely ambiguous about when I met with Oishi-sama, and Reina was just correcting me on that. Aw, look, little kitty. You're twitch. Aww. That's when I was bewildered by the changing character from the usual mild-mannered Reina, and was just startled by it. That's the most natural way of thinking about it. I felt like my mind was mixed up like a tangled mess of spaghetti. Deep red marinara sauce would have poured out of my nose and ears if you squeezed my head. Well, yes, but not marinara sauce, you know. Thinking that, I suddenly felt like vomiting. I really didn't want that to happen, so I stopped holding my head. Lately, I had no idea what anyone was saying. Spending time with them was fun. It didn't feel like there was any sort of hidden agenda. I really did think that they're a good bunch of people.
You poor fool.
When I just moved here and couldn't make heads or tails of everything, they were really kind to me. Reina was really kind and always looked after me. As long as that strange affliction didn't reel its ugly head, she was really pretty cute. Mion is also a really good person. She didn't care about anyone's age or gender and was optimistic and outgoing. I was never bored when I was with her. And talking of not getting bored, rambunctious Satoko was a good person for that too. She was pretty bratty, but that was just the way she interacted with others. Reika-chan was the same way. She didn't speak often, but that didn't mean she was always silent. They're my friends. But after hearing of the better untold secrets of Hinamizawa from Oishi-san and Tomitake-san, when I was told about Oyashiro-sama's curse, things started going crazy. Then hearing from Oishi-sama that Mion, Reina, Satoko, and Rika-chan were all suspicious, after that, everyone changed. That's right. It all started getting weird after Oishi-san told me all that strange stuff. At that time, I really should have just not listened to those weird stories. I shouldn't even have asked Tomitake-san about the past incidents on the night of the Watanagashi. If I just hadn't gotten that strange sense of curiosity. If I just hadn't. That's right. So that's why they killed Tomitake-san. That impudent outsider speaking to the likes of me after everyone went out of their way to keep it a secret from me. You know, the censoring doesn't really look like they killed Tomitake-san.
Yeah, kind of looks like they did something else to him.
Yeah, well, you know, whatever. We know what they mean.
Yeah.
They probably killed Oishi-san. They'll probably kill Oishi-san as well. They're trying to unearth what everybody was warning me was better left buried. Besides that, he was unforgivable.
Andrew!
Well, no, Andrew. They left a big mess, didn't you hear?
God damn it.
Besides that, he was unforgivable for spewing words that made me doubt the others. Of course, a guy like that is going to be killed.
Oh my god, Andrew.
Both Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing but outsiders after all. Andrew, we're trying to have a serious dour moment here. Look at you. Look at you.
Oh, goddamn.
There were entities who couldn't coexist with the people of Hinamizawa. Look, Andrew, just because you can shred cheese on his abs. Both Tomitake-san and Oishi-san were nothing. This guy should just fall to Oyashiro-sama's curse and just die.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for not being able to hold back my curiosity. It wasn't their fault. 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 It wasn't their fault.
Damn.
I seldom knew a daze. It was lethargic feeling like I had just gotten up, but the ominous chill that haunted me had subsided. I was fine now. I was no longer frightened. I had completely recovered.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll go to school tomorrow, right as rain. I'll greet everyone. I'll take part in club activities. It'll definitely be fun. It had to be fun. I was one of them after all. Ah, that reminds me. I need to eat those mochi.
Oh boy, the fucking mochi.
I hope I'm able to tell which one Reina made. I remember the homework the two brought with them when they visited me. But wow, our club did delivery. That was something else. I picked up the package I dropped on the floor and headed in the living room.
Oh boy.
It would be nice, I guess, to have some tea with it. To fill my mouth with mochi while drinking tea. Oh, this was quite a delectable situation I was in. Opening up the newspaper wrapping, there were 5 plump red bean paste mochi fit snugly inside. There were letters written from left to right on the paper. A, B, C, D, and E. Now then, they said Reina made one of these. I wonder which one. There wasn't much difference in how they looked. They smelled and appeared about the same. This was a pretty difficult problem. The biggest difference was probably their shape. I wasn't sure what kind of person Mion's grandma was, but Reina's had to be different from hers. Looking carefully, I could see one mochi had been made very neatly. So well that, just by staring at it, one could tell it stood out. Looks like this challenge depends on whether or not this one is Reina's. Calm down and think even harder. Miana said her grandmother made a ton of them and was told to give some out if I remembered correctly. So that means 4 of these are from that large batch. And what about Reina? She probably only made 1. So she probably spent quite a bit of time on it. Meaning the one Reina had made, this was this one. E. For a moment I thought it might have been a trap Leon laid as she knew I'd pick up on, but that probably wasn't the case. I wouldn't be so sure if I knew Mion had made it, but since she said Reina made it, it probably wasn't a trap. Alright. My tea is ready too. I'll start with the defending champ, Mion's grandma. Let's see.
I hate this part.
Not bad. The smooth bean paste and soft, chewy texture left little to be desired. The tea I drank afterwards also accentuated the experience. This was an exquisite piece of work. Now, how about Reina's? The creation was so delicate, one would think it was a high-class Japanese dessert.
Oh, God.
Since I normally had quite the appetite, I was slightly worried about the size of the portion. But, well, first a bite. This was quite a difficult one to judge, actually. The ingredients were exactly the same, so there was little difference in flavor. What was different was how it was shaped at the end, so it was to be expected. So the deciding factor would be presentation and volume. The well-formed and well-sized champion versus Reina the challenger with a size you just couldn't get enough of. I'd only had 1 bite of Reina's. I would probably have to wait until after I was done eating to make my decision. Maybe there's something hidden inside that could cause an upset. Chew, chew. Oh, it's all black all around. It seems my prediction was right. My tongue touched something. It didn't feel like something edible, so I reached in with my fingers and grabbed it.
Oh, yep. I hate this part.
What? What was this? Before I could fully comprehend what it was, I threw away the rest of the mochi I was eating as fast as I could. It slammed against the wall, causing the bean jam to splatter. Then, after sticking for a moment, it slid down to the floor. I was dumbstruck by my own actions. What was I doing? Reina had gone out of her way to make it for me. How could I? Dumbstruck, I looked down at the hand that performed such a vile act, and I remembered what I had taken out of my mouth. At first, I thought it was a hair. Even though it was shorter than Mion's, Reina's hair was still quite long. And it wasn't this short. It was also a bit too hard to be hair. It was thick enough to roll around on my tongue. There was a bit of a metallic sheen on one end of it. Ah yes, there was a hole for where the thread goes through, like a sewing needle. Yes, that's right. It looked very much like a sewing needle. Exactly like one. The end was pointed as well, quite sharply. It really did look just like a sewing needle. Huh? What did I mean by looked very much like a sewing needle just a bit ago? I couldn't answer, but a voice inside me already knew, and let me know by chattering my molars together. I couldn't stave off the terror welling up inside me. Suddenly I tasted something metallic and felt a prick of pain at the back of my throat. I stuck my fingers to the back of my mouth and felt around to see if I was bleeding. Suddenly I felt the urge to vomit. The sharp taste of bile irritated the back of my throat. I clasped both hands over my mouth, and after writhing in agony, I was somehow able to hold back the nausea. I was finally able to breathe normally again, but this time my heart was throbbing intensely. Then it finally registered exactly what was mixed in with the mochi. Before I could think of the correct word, my hands were already on the move. Splat, plop, splort. I tossed the rest of the mochi against the wall. The geometrical patterns of the scattered bean jam on the wall suddenly invoked a terrible omen in my mind. After looking away, I dashed out to the hall and flew upstairs to my room, where I stayed under my covers until morning. I clutched my own shoulders, howling madly in a mix of fear, anger, sadness, and frustration. This wasn't a threat or warning or reminder, nothing as simple as that. What had happened in Hinamazawa? What is happening in Hinamazawa? What would happen? I didn't have the answer to any of those questions. Where did I break a taboo? Regardless, now Reina and Mion and others, they considered me an enemy. And they thought, I should just die. I won't let you kill me. Not for such a pointless reason. I fell into a restless sleep as I was crushed by my negative emotions. It was as if I was being drawn into a billowing, bottomless swamp.
Yeah. Yeah. I when we got to the mochi thing, I was like, oh, that's right.
I remembered there was something in the mochi. I couldn't remember what was in the mochi.
I forgot too. Ooh, a drug that makes you kill yourself? And a threat. Oh,
Threats.
no.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Hard to swallow.
Yup.
Oh. Alright, what's a drug that makes you commit suicide?
Oh, boy.
Let's cut to the chase. Is there a drug that causes someone to kill themselves? Not directly, no. It's quite a roundabout response. You mean there's one that does it indirectly? It's possible to induce suicidal mental state, is what I mean. That's hard to say. What would a suicidal mental state be? Like a person with serious bipolar disorder. It's believed that people are most likely to attempt suicide while swinging from depression to mania. Clinical depression and bipolar disorder are different. Clinical depression indicates a prolonged state of depression, whereas bipolar disorder is characterized by a passive depressed state accompanied by a very active manic state. Individuals with clinical depression suffer from low self-esteem and are quite pessimistic, but rarely commit suicide. They don't have the willpower to commit suicide. Nor does the mania on its own lead to suicide. That has an opposite effect, filling the person with confidence and making them feel as though they're walking on air. Thus, they do not commit suicide. That's interesting. Neither state causes suicide, but when the condition changes, they might do so? There is a desire to commit suicide when in a state of depression, but they do not have the willpower to commit such a formidable act. But when they enter mania, they gain a burst of willpower and their body moves as they desire. I see. So it means they gain the willpower to commit suicide. That's how it goes. That's why patients are given sedatives during that time to keep them from acting on their impulses. Then was Tomitake bipolar? People who suffer from bipolar disorder generally commit suicide by more civilized means, like, say, hanging or jumping off a building. Self-harm, as though going through withdrawal, is completely different. Tomitake's death wasn't civilized? So one would think it was caused by some foreign substance. As I said from the start, tell me of a drug that causes someone to commit suicide. There are reports that methamphetamine overdoses produce a condition that resembles bipolar disorder. It's a stimulant. Barbiturate overdoses are also reported to cause erratic behaviors. That's a sleep aid. There were no signs of stimulants. Are there any other possibilities? All I can think of is that it's some sort of illness. Something like Graves' disease, which affects the thyroid and is known to cause symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder. Graves' disease has many characteristic symptoms of its own. The deceased exhibited none of them. I wonder, is there something that could have happened more spontaneously? Something that fits this case and would cause someone to want to commit suicide all of a sudden? Are you familiar with organic mental disorders? In short, it's a condition where the brain is out of whack due to physical injury or illness. It can be caused by drugs, but it can also be caused by physical trauma, encephalitis, a stroke, or even tumors. Basically, even without the drug, one can succumb to a regular mental state. The deceased was surrounded after being chased and his life was in danger, right? All that stress could have messed with his brain chemistry. He could have hit his head, and those factors combined might have caused him to mutilate himself. It's a possibility. Could you explain that to me in simpler terms? Basically, he knocked his noggin in the brawl, and that made him go haywire. Guess this means the assailants didn't have any intention to kill. They smacked him hoping to nick some change or just happened to hit a bad place. The two plump men laughed hoarsely. But of course it's not like that. Ahem. Undoubtedly. Whether it was habitual drug use or something mental, the deceased's background holds the key. How's your investigation going? Oh my goodness, look at the time. I need to get back here. Sooner Kuma-chan will be angry with me. Yeah, good luck. Best wishes. Best wishes.
Who's Kuma?
I don't know. His boss, maybe. Threat!
Okay.
Cool.
Who's getting threatened? Who's getting threatened? Oh, probably Oishi.
Those guys just now. They had national diet badges. That's Prefectural Assembly Measure Sonozuki and City Councilor Sonozaki. That's interesting. The Prefectural Assembly member and City Councilor are related. It's dirty is what it is, shouting out each other's name during elections. While one is up for election, the other holds an assembly, and they double up their campaign activities. Blatantly. I don't know much about this stuff, but isn't that against the rules of the election? As long as they have no prior consultation, there are no restrictions on their political activities. Kuma-chan, the 2nd Investigation Division is going to be pretty tough for you. You should at least brush up on election laws. I'm not
he's Kuma-chan,
yeah,
okay.
I'm not how to hand out to cuddle intellectual crime, because I'm dumb. There was a Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki. Also, the mayor of Hinamazawa. So they all influenced by the Sonozaki family. What crap. Looks like they were seen off by the deputy chief and the department chief. It came to me. That night when the department chief invited me along to get some udon, I thought that was it. You have a lot of connections, so you might have heard something. Have you? Nope, not a thing. Ma'am, I'll take a tofu fritter and fish cake. The counselor stormed in on the police chief in a rage. Oh my, is that so? Ma'am, I'll take another bowl. Prefectural Assembly member Sonozaki and City Councilor Sonozaki were both intimidating. Our snot-nosed career police chief couldn't handle being yelled at them. They're like Yakuza. A petition with your name came up regarding how the investigation of the Hinamazawa incident is being handled. Goodness me, I'm not the faintest. I don't need to play dumb. You're reopening the past cases regarding Hinamazawa, aren't you? I've already got my hands full of Tomitake's death. Nah. Really? I hope so for your sake. There was a period of silence. While we were silent, we made headway on our food and drink. Whew, that was quite the feast. This month's been a bunch of losses for me, so my wallet was feeling the pinch. Oh, look at that. It's nighttime in the other art styles. Much appreciated. Nah, it's nothing. Tell me a good horse again. I'll bet on the same one as you. Nah, I haven't been doing that well lately. I haven't been able to read the horses at all. Taxi. I'm going by train. The department chief is taking a taxi. I have my own car, but it'd be rash to drive it home. Can't blow it right before retirement with a DUI. Even though he could still rattle off, it looked like his legs were already jelly. Pushing him into the cab, I gave the driver the department chief's address. Well, see you again tomorrow. Best wishes. Oishi-san. Yeah. The past incidents had all been closed. Stop lumping them all together. Those villagers half believe it's really a curse. Well, I'm not convinced. You're going to be retiring next year, aren't you? Weren't you going to pay off your mortgage with your severance pay and move up to Hokkaido with your mom? Mother pines to return to her birthplace. It's the least I can do. And the severance? Well, I'll enjoy it at the entertainment district. The chief said he may have to reconsider issuing your special retirement salary raise. A public servant's severance pay is calculated based on their monthly salary when they retire. So, a special promotion of 2 pay grades is given before retirement. This tops up the employee's severance pay. That tends to be how it's done around here. Of course, it's not exactly a commendable custom. Incidentally, the difference that 2 pay grades make is the payout is quite significant. I'd expect no less of our egg-headed chief, quite the model veiled threat. But, well, considering how our pay comes from the public's hard-earned taxes, it's the way of the times, I suppose. It certainly wasn't a laughing matter, but I'll laugh through it anyway. I don't think it's such a model response, but given how hard you worked, it's not at all odd for you to take home such a good package. Personally, I'd like you to get it. If I can get it, well, of course I'd want it. You'll get it, as long as you're an adult about this. Sorry for holding you up here, driver. Thank you very much. I closed the door roughly, interrupting the department chief's conversation a bit rudely. It looked like he still had something to say, but he just smiled wryly and waved. I waved in return. The cab sped up gradually and soon disappeared among the sea of lights. Oh, man. I wonder if I'll be able to repay that loan.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Alright, it's 9 o'clock. Do you want to play a little more?
If you want to.
Yeah,
if
sure.
you're up for it.
Alright, yeah, let's go a little further.
Sure.
Oh.
Is it time for Katie to die yet?
Possibly. It feels like it. Tap, tap, tap. Sound of muffled footsteps stopping in front of the door to my room. A moment of silence, as if whoever they belonged to was ascertaining if I was inside. Of all the things I should have been doing, I continued on with my restless slumber. I was very much conscious that my body hadn't caught up yet. Even with danger bearing down on me from just beyond the door, it was as if I was completely paralyzed, unable to move. Without a doubt, this was sheer terror. Please, just leave. Hey, why isn't my body awake yet? If they came into my room right now, then... I sprung to my feet and threw my covers at my mom, who was opening the door.
Whoa! Keiichi? What's the matter?
Sorry. I was still half asleep. I thought it was still 1 or 2 a.m., but the morning sun was already streaming through the gap between the curtains. It felt nothing like morning. Yesterday, I must have fallen asleep right after that. Then I should have gotten a full 10 hours of rest. But I didn't feel like that at all. My internal clock was completely screwed up and my sense of balance felt off. I felt feverish enough that it was clear to me that I was still not well.
Well, Keiichi? How are you feeling? Can you make it to school?
I felt far from well enough. No, I wasn't mentally fit to go. I was still plagued with the terror from yesterday. If I had swallowed that needle, what would have happened? Or what if it had pierced my tongue? It was undoubtedly a murderous intent, but I didn't think that it didn't. But I don't think that's all it was. If they really wanted to kill me, there were other, more certain ways to do it. They wouldn't resort to such a dubious method as having me swallow a needle. Meaning, I didn't want to believe it, but going that far was just a threat from Reina and Mion. Aren't you glad you didn't die? But next time we'll use a more assured method. Like that. Something like sending a letter with a razor inside would have been a joke compared to this.
Did you make it to the hospital? Did you take your medicine?
Yeah, kinda. Something my mom's dubious gaze bothered me. She seemed more concerned about her son missing 2 days of school rather than him being sick. I was definitely mentally fatigued. I wasn't really physically ill.
It'll be hard for you to get back on track once your daily routine is thrown off. Come on, get on up. They say wellness is a state of mind.
I'd heard that line... Excuse me. I'd heard that line so many times before. I was given an award in elementary school for having perfect attendance, but it wasn't like I was healthier than everyone.
Come on, go wash your face. Breakfast is almost ready. There isn't much time before Reina comes and gets you.
Mom's tone meant I couldn't argue about it, so I had to give up on skipping a second day.
By the way, were you the one who got bean paste all over the living room wall, Keiichi? You shouldn't do something like that. Your father was quite angry. Sorry, Dad.
I didn't feel particularly guilty for doing it, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Also, Mom didn't question me any further about it. She headed back downstairs after she was certain I was getting up. What Mion said as she left yesterday, "I'd hate if you missed school tomorrow," came back and dwelled in the back of my head. What did she mean by that? I didn't even have to really think about it. She was saying, "Don't be absent." Taking that a bit further, it was the same as her saying I should just go about living my life as if nothing happened. If I showed any sign of acting unusual, it would probably result in them making their move. If I acted differently, someone like Oishi-san, for example, might end up noticing that something is up. Meaning, if I didn't watch my mouth or did anything differently from the norm, in effect, it would end up communicating something to those who were undesirable. Do you have a hot anime take for Andrew?
I'm bad at these. I don't got shit for you, baby. God. I'm trying to think of a good one. Do you have one? You don't got any takes? Fuck.
The opening to that Magical Destroyers show is really neat. I like it. I like how it turns into digital vomit in the last third.
What?
Have you not seen this?
No.
There's some cranked out show. It's something Magical Destroyers or something. The opening's great. I've watched a bit of it. Don't really know what it's about.
Now I have to look this up. Hold on. Hold on, now I gotta look this up.
Andrew, you remember titles better than I do. You know what I'm talking about, right?
What is it called?
It's something Magical Destroyers, something.
Destroyers OP.
I'm not gonna play it on stream.
Play on the stream.
No, you at home are connected to the internet, obviously. Look it up yourselves.
I'll have to look at it later.
Indeed. And it seems that was something that the girls didn't intend to forgive. So, if I just went along as normal, no harm would come to me. Was that how it was going to be? All that misery I experienced up until yesterday would almost creepily just fade away. It was an enticing deal. Just by forgetting everything I'd seen or heard these last few days, I'd be able to keep living on like normal.
Yeah, wishful thinking.
There's no way such a selfish thing could... I swallowed hard. I once again deliberated on the idea that I had just rejected. Mion was probably a good person who had her friends at heart. She was giving me, who had mistakenly broken some rule of theirs, a chance. Was what I did really something so unforgivable? But Mion had given me another chance. She was saying, if I just forgot everything and kept living on like I had been, I'd be forgiven.
Keiichi! Your food is going to get cold. Hurry up and get down here. Rena will be here if you don't hurry.
I'm coming. I crammed my textbooks into my bag and hastily made my way downstairs. I picked up my somewhat bland breakfast. It seemed I didn't have much time. I was already past when I usually met up with Reina. Given yesterday's events, she'd probably be here in the next 5 minutes. I need to be ready to head to school by then. I had to forget everything that had happened the past 2 days. Forget it all and return to my normal life. For this to be normal, I'll have to be where I normally meet up with Reina. Today of all days, the rice was dry and hard to go down. Ding dong! I jumped to the sound and dropped my chopsticks. The chime signaled that Reina had arrived. Mom hurried me along.
Come on, Reina's already here. Hurry, hurry.
My mom's merry smile and my gloomy face were polar opposites. You alright?
Yeah, that's small.
Alright.
Table for a second.
Honestly, I was reluctant to see Reina, who was waiting there on the other side of the door. The Reina on the other side. Was it the Reina I knew? I couldn't keep her waiting. I needed to do things as usual.
Morning!
An invigorating greeting filtered from across the doorway.
I came since Keiichi was a bit late. Will he be okay, I wonder?
The manner in which Reina was concerned was, without a doubt, the Reina I knew. But that was probably only if I reciprocated. Forget everything from yesterday. Pretend as though nothing had happened. Forget about the gruesome dismemberment. Forget about the mysterious deaths that happened the following years. Forget about the people falling to their death, and the terminal illness and suicide, the fatal beatings, and the disappearances. Forget it. Forget all of it. Forget that Reina and Mion were scary. Of course, forget it all. Forget about all of it. Forget about the mochi too. Forget. Reina, once again, asked to make sure.
Can you make it to school?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Great! Then let's go. Michan is waiting.
Well, as we know, Andrew, that's approved by at least one fictional character.
Oh, Jesus.
Reina showed me her usual bright smile. I couldn't find any hint of deceit in her expression. My nervousness dissipated, giving way to relief.
Okay, that pause. I thought for a second they were going to go back into it.
Well, they might. I mean, we're not at school yet.
I know. But you see, Satoko was so insistent she could do it.
As we were walking, Reina talked about a lot of different stuff, more so than usual.
I gotta go back to Ugu voice. Ugu.
Then?
Satoko is clumsy, so she failed no matter how many times she tried. Oh, she was so cute. Ugu.
Everything Reina talked about was just silly nonsense, so I just replied ever so often and laughed from time to time. It was a rather laid-back conversation.
Back to hot dog fingies. Yes, the hot dog fingies.
The hot dog fingers. We passed by one of our neighbors and they called out to us.
Oh my! Keiichi and Reina, aren't you two a little bit late today?
God damn it, Andrew.
She's right. Mion said she was going on ahead. Uh-oh. Did Michan look mad, I wonder? We need to hurry up, Keiichi.
After greeting our neighbor with a smile, Reina turned back to me and poked her tongue out. Not expecting that, I couldn't help but crack a smile.
Keiichi smiled.
Huh? Well, what? Reina stopped and stared at me.
I was thinking that you still hadn't recovered from your cold since you seemed down this morning, Keiichi. But now you seem fine. Fine!
With a grin, she gently poked my cheek. It was a bright, sincere smile. Hey, Keiichi Maebara. How can you still doubt Reina after she shows you a smile like that? Maybe I just had a high fever up until today and I imagined everything that I thought happened because I was bedridden and delirious. Oh,
wishful thinking.
Oh, denial's not just a river in Egypt. Okay. I really hope that was the case. If God would grant me just one wish.
Ever the optimist.
There's only one thing I'd wish for. I would want what had happened in the past few days. More specifically, from the night of the Wadagashi up until last night, I wanted all that to have never happened. I wonder how many times I'd wished for this the past few days. As long as Reina kept smiling like this, I think it might just become reality. So I wanted I wanted Reina to keep on smiling. Keep on smiling.
So, Keiichi.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Those mochi yesterday. Did you eat them all?
Oh boy, we're in negative
Oh
land.
boy.
That vain wish of mine was instantly shattered. My heart began palpitating. The relaxed morning mood suddenly became frigid. Reina's smile was the same as usual. Her eyes were gentle as usual. Those mochi yesterday, did you eat them all? Of course, she wasn't asking the question at face value. In other words, Reina was asking, did you get the message? She was probably trying to convey that.
Keiichi?
I was reluctant to give an answer. Reina stopped walking and stared deeply into my eyes.
Oh, God.
Ah. Don't hesitate, Keiichi Maebara. Reina was acting the same as always, wasn't she? I needed to respond in my usual way. Naturally, of course. But both my throat and mouth had gone dry and my lips were stuck together. Hurry and answer, Keiichi. Not that much time had passed. I could still keep the conversation going naturally. I had to say something quickly. Did? Oh.
Yeah?
Reina playfully mimicked what I said when I finally squeaked something out. Reina's reaction was still normal. It seemed like there wasn't as long of a pause as I had thought. Somehow I finally squeaked out the rest. Delicious! However, my strained efforts neither sullied nor brightened Reina's expression. For a moment I panicked, thinking I had replied incorrectly.
I'm pretty sure she knows exactly what the fuck she did.
I mean, she knows what she did.
She 100% knows what she did. Because she's, at this stage, she's trying to get an answer, like Keiichi says. Like, she's just trying, at this point, she's trying to gauge whether he got the message or not.
Did he understand the threat that was delivered?
Yes.
But after a few moments, Reina broke into her usual soft smile and giggled with a joyful voice that seemed to echo through the morning air. Being strung along by that laugh, I couldn't help but laugh as well.
I see.
Oh, God.
So did you eat all of them, I wonder? I wonder.
My timid smile froze again. Did you make it without swallowing the sewing needle? Was that what she was asking? If I had swallowed it, then I wouldn't be here. Nah, I couldn't finish all of them. There's still some left. I was scared out of my wits, but that's how I played it.
Aww. Well, what about the homework to see if you could tell which one Reina made?
That homework. Was it due today?
Yeah, it's due today. Mi-chan will get angry. There's probably a penalty game ready for you.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy. We both laughed at each other again. To a casual observer, it was just a typical morning. If I could just let myself believe, then even I'd think it was just the usual morning routine. But
Wishful thinking.
I was certain I wasn't mistaken. There was something unimaginable buried beneath the facade of this giggling Reina.
Lies! That was abrupt.
I recall that unexpected, piercing voice that I could hardly believe came from Reina's mouth. The moment that image crossed my mind, I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. Was it only at that particular time that something evil had possessed Reina? No, that was wrong. That was still Reina. Oishi-san told me, didn't he? Actually, I looked into her, and before Reigo-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows. Reina had a disorder that normal people didn't. No matter how pleasantly she smiled, that fact would not change. But I couldn't even imagine how she looked as she broke all the glass throughout the school. One thing I knew was that it wasn't something spur of the moment. If it was some sudden outburst of anger, then maybe she'd break a pane or two. But she broke all of the windows all throughout her school.
Stop thinking about it, Keiichi.
Just imagine going through your own school, breaking the windows with a bat.
Oh!
Swinging full force at each pane of glass, one after another, paying no heed to the flying shards. Your classmates aghast. unable to move from the sudden turn of events. I wonder where she could have found the most windows lined up in a row. Probably the hallway. Walk, wind up, smash. Walk, wind up, smash. It was difficult for me to connect that horrifying image with Reina smiling at me right now. But I just had to imagine it. Impossible because it was unimaginable. That naive way of thinking no longer worked. The unpleasant, piercing sound of shattered glass, the crunching noise as Reina tread across the broken shards walking towards me. Reina's classmates going pale as they forgot to even breathe. I wonder what they did as Reina came closer, breaking windows along her path. Did they earnestly try to bring her to her senses by saying something? Or did they jump at her trying to stop her savagery? Or did they run to the staff room to call for the teachers? Probably none of those. In the face of the blood-curdling sight of Reina busting window after window, undoubtedly all they could do was silently clear path for her. Dumbfounded, just clearing the path for Reina to continue. It would be cruel to blame anyone for looking the other way. No, they weren't simply looking the other way. They knew it was the only way they could protect themselves. If they had done something differently from the rest, they may have suddenly found themselves as Reina's new target. What would Reina have done to whoever attracted her attention? The answer was obvious. She would have undoubtedly acted according to her whims. Meaning I would, be the next window. Reina staring into my eye, shards of glass crunching and crackling underfoot as she drew closer. I was also drawn into her eyes, paralyzed. Then Reina struck me with the bat over and over again like I was one of those windows. I crouched down on the floor, desperately protecting my head. Reina didn't care whether it was my head or my back. Zealously, she hit me again and again. What kind of expression was she making as she was doing this over and over again? I peered up to see. Her expression was so indifferent, it was completely unnerving. It was because no matter how many times she struck me, I didn't make as pleasant a sound as the other windows.
Jesus. What's it look like in other versions? The same as usual.
Deadeye. She struck me continuously, over and over again. The sound Reina wanted didn't come out. Our classmates standing around didn't try to stop her. They didn't want to be the next window. Somebody save me. Turning a blind eye unless we're hanging out? But of course, everyone in class scrambled to obtain the highest standardized test scores. They gained nothing from saving a cram school tryhard like me. Eventually there would be a faint sound similar when you crack open a walnut and some sort of reddish-black spray would shoot out. Anyway, it wasn't that Reina momentarily lost herself in anger. After forcing myself to breathe and calming down my heart, I recalled what Oishi-san told me. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Reina-san. It shows up. And quite a bit at that. What does? She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. Following that, Reina was suspended and had regular examinations at the hospital. Then, as Reina was undergoing counseling, she said it over and over. Oyashiro-sama. It seems that Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow looking down at her. That was only a piece of their conversation, so I still couldn't see the big picture, but it was by no means a happy conversation. Then what Reina did, was she saying that ghastly incident was a result of her being possessed by Oyashiro-sama? Up until now, I didn't want to believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse. That's why I wanted to say the mysterious deaths every year happen because of some sort of conspiracy. Every time I talked with Oishi-san, I was more certain that the deaths were the work of men, not some curse. Except, if it was people perpetrating the incidents, my friends were somehow deeply connected. If I refused to believe that the curse was real, then I would have to believe that those who acted the kindest to me were deeply involved in the incidents. Why? How? For what reason? Was everybody? It was much more painful and troublesome than accepting that it was just Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the aftermath, Reina had admitted to her doctor that it was because she was possessed by Oyashiro-sama. I felt a strange sense of relief from that. So that's how it was. There wasn't a second side to Reina. She did that because she was possessed by something strange like Oyashiro-sama. It wasn't Reina's fault. Oyashiro-sama was the one to blame. I knew. This was all backwards. Refusing to believe there was a curse, I wanted there to be a human perpetrator. Now that my close friends were the ones under suspicion, I changed my beliefs at my own convenience, saying it was Oyashiro-sama's curse to blame. Which was the better choice, accepting that Oyashiro-sama's curse exists? Or that Reina and the rest of them were deep involved in the string of mysterious deaths? I didn't want to think about it. If I just didn't think about it, I'd be able to continue the same as always. I wanted to believe that. But that was no longer possible. I had received their message. It was pathetic of me to try and bend the meaning to my own convenience, regardless of whether my opponent were a human or curse. I won't let it kill me. As if I would just bend over and give in, for no good reason at all.
Keiichi? You've been making a really weird face. Why, I wonder?
Inhaling sharply upon hearing Reina's voice, I came back to my senses. Before I'd realized it, we were already at the entrance. Shaking my head a few times, I exercised all those terrifying thoughts. No matter how you looked at it, there's no way Reina could have done such terrible things. It was like I was trying to placate myself.
Nope.
As I slid the door open, a blackboard eraser loaded with chalk dropped down onto my head the moment I stepped into the classroom. And this feels like a good place to pause.
Probably.
We'll have some fun lightness to come back into when we
come back in a couple weeks.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're taking a breather from Higurashi for a couple weeks because I busy.
You have life stuff.
I busy with life stuff. My
Yes.
mom's visiting me next week, and then the week after I'm gonna be out of town for the night. So, I'll explain more later when I'm ready to explain it.
Yes.
But yeah. Oh, Keiji. Poor naive Keiji.
Poor dumb bastard doesn't. I mean, he knows, but he doesn't want to wrestle with it.
No, he knows. He just doesn't want to admit it.
I mean, fairness, what's he gonna do?
Fair
like-
enough.
Can he? I mean, he lives in the middle of nowhere. It's not like he'd even go somewhere.
Right. It's like, what the fuck can you really do,
I
huh?
know.
Oh, man. So, yeah.
Poor bastard.
Man's in denial that the cute ooh-woo anime girl has bloodlust and wants to end his fucking life. Accurate.
I mean, who among us?
Accurate. Alright. So, sorry I missed it. I'm on vacation. I plan to see the Mario movie tomorrow. Hi, Maverick. You did miss it.
That's okay.
It's alright. The
Next time.
VOD will be available on the Twitch. So,
It's true.
yeah. If y'all missed it, we finally posted the W Awards over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't had the chance to go watch or listen to it, please do so. It was a fun time. And it was fun. And if y'all are wondering about individual cards and those threads on like Twitter and stuff, I got a message from Megan asking if it was a go-ahead, and I need to respond to that. I was in the middle of this. So be on the lookout for that in the very near future from all of the hosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have a new episode coming out this week because of the dubbies. So, yeah.
That sounds right.
And I don't know if Jackson's streaming tomorrow, if he's still going to be taking his extended break after going through Shadows of Valencia. So yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore. Nah.
We will all figure it out eventually.
One way or another. Do we want to go raid someone?
Sure.
Assume nothing for a few days. Yeah, pretty much. So our options are, I don't know who Syla Aria is, but that's an option. They're just chatting right now. There's Sean Shiplock, who's playing Labyrinth of Refrain Coven of Dusk, and that's Sayu's fiance. Okay, good to know. I was not aware. I forgot that was their name. And then Kyle Phillips, who might have just started his stream because he's just chatting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we want to go say hello to? Celia, Sean, or Kyle?
Let's say hi to Kyle since he seems to be just starting up.
All right, we'll go say hi to Kyle. You guys have a great night, and we will catch you guys next time. I don't know if we were talking before stream, and Amon may or may not stream something else for the next couple weeks since I'm gonna be out of commission. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks for sticking around. We're gonna start this raid up. So go say hi to Kyle for us, all right, guys? You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Goodbye. Let's see. The raid was successful. Oh, stream starting soon. Okay.
Well,
stream starting soon.
Whatever. At least it's not ending soon.
Anyway. Yep, we'll take that.
Yep. That's fine. That's doable. Oh.
Andrew just talked to me. What'd you say, Bebe? Oh, you mean Austin Sisk? I didn't read the message, but hold on. My shit being a pain.